Today's back page from the Press Box on the Right Team podcast is brought to you by Right Team Services. From professional writing and editing to website content, social media, and grant writing, Right Team Services works with schools, businesses, and nonprofits to communicate their message clearly and effectively. If you need words that work for you, trust Right Team Services to help you find your voice. Learn more today at rightteamservices.net about how we can help you tell your story. Okay, what's on your back page today, Matt?
Okay, so I'll start a little controversial and then move on to some feel good, more lighthearted stuff. And we're not, I want to be clear, and I know you're on the same page with me on this. This is not, I'm not about, not even trying to get political. In fact, for me, sports is kind of an escape from some of this stuff. I love that it doesn't really, get impacted all that much by that. And don't like when it does. But it's just weird to me. And some of it's just sort of fluky. You can't avoid it. But, we have had some tussles as a nation as far as just some verbal sparring or even some, intrusive interaction with Canada, and then we played them in hockey for a gold medal, and we played them in the WBC, and we've had it with Venezuela. Now we're playing them in the WBC championship. And I don't know if you heard, but Iran has come out and said, look, FIFA, please do not let any of our World Cup games be in America, because the president has said he can't guarantee our security and our safety, which take that however you want to mean it. But they said, can we please play in Mexico, which we're at a point where nations are asking to play in Mexico, which I found kind of interesting. But I don't like it. I want to just watch the sport. I love the World Cup. I don't want the World Cup to come down to, well, we don't want to play there because this political thing is going on. And so I don't know. I saw that story, and I, oddly enough, kind of understand why the head of the Iranian team wants that. I like it where we can go root for Team USA, and we want them to beat everybody. And then when the competition's over, we can get back to not disliking people because they're from another country. I want it to stay that way. But it feels like every international competition we've had, Olympics, World Baseball Classic, and now the World Cup, it feels like we're running into these political things that are getting in the way of really good sports moments, and that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and we do kind of have to tippy toe around these subjects, particularly on a show like ours,
for sure.
But I have to wonder, with the condition that exists currently. I mean, let's just say we're at war with Iran, of course, and the number one question is, why I would not want my team coming to a place where I'm currently at war with that country.
No,
on either side. I would not want to send our team over to the Middle East right now.
Right.
And so, in line with your thinking, I can kind of see, because of the condition that we're looking at, I kind of find it hard to believe that you would really feel unsafe as to whether or not we can guarantee your safety over here. I don't sense that here, a hatred or so against where it would be a hostile environment for your particular team. As a matter of fact, it may be the safest for your team, based on the way that their women's soccer team has acted over the last few weeks. If you've been following that, they all saw the silence where they were, and it's kind of been swept under the rug about what they're going through now back in Iran for doing so. So the safest place, at least if you believe everything that you read and you hear, would actually be anywhere but Iran right now.
Sure.
And that smacks as a little bit of a political statement to me when they say we don't want to send our teams to the U.S. because we feel unsafe. We're going to send them to Mexico and feel safer, right?
Yeah.
So all of that being said, I agree with you on that. Unfortunately, it's always been a part of sports always is tied to politics in a way. You can remember all the propaganda that went in the 1936 Olympic Games, right? I mean,
Sure.
if you've ever
Yeah.
read and followed that with the Nazis hosting there in Berlin, the whole Jesse Owens thing versus Adolf Hitler. And in 1980, of course, we boycotted the Moscow Games, and in 84, the Winter Games. And so, and then they flip-flopped it and didn't send their team over here in 84
Yeah.
in the Summer Games. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it happens, and you have these things like that. But I have to question really the motive of Iran when they say we don't feel safe, and that is what it is. But again,
Well,
it's important to remember all of that is we're at war with those people. And
yeah.
I would not, in a normal company, I wouldn't send my team over to where a nation I'm at war with.
No, and especially when the president says, I can't guarantee your safety. I mean, if the highest office in the land publicly states on social media, I can't guarantee your safety. I mean, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? So I just, it's a shame to me, because I think about sports, like I said, it's an escape. It's a fun thing. Like especially these international competitions. I mean, when something like that, Olympics or World Cups going on, I want all the best to all be involved and watch them all, and I hate that something that's going on outside of that realm could potentially impact that. So anyway, it's but yeah, it's just a curious thing. But you're right; it's always been that way, especially with some of those other historical Olympic situations. My other one, totally shifting gears. I don't know if you saw this, but there were actually 2 local no hitters over the weekend. You mentioned Harleton and Wascom. Harleton pitcher Caden Skaggs threw a no hitter in their big win over Wascom in baseball on Friday, and then Gary defeated Joaquin on Friday, and actually a Marshall native, Tucker Grubbs. You may know his family. They go to Crossroads Baptist Church. His dad's a coach there at Gary, so that's why he plays there, because he plays for his dad. But not only did Tucker Grubbs, who's a catcher by trade, but he's got a good arm, so they use him to pitch. Not only did he throw a no hitter, but it was the Gary coach, and I'm completely blanking on his name right now. I had it before me. It was his 300th career win over Joaquin. So a really big milestone night in Gary, but 2 no hitters in East Texas on the same Friday night. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool. And good for him. When you first said that, when you said 300 career wins against Joaquin, I was like, man, that's a pretty dominant performance against one team. You got 300 career wins.
No.
And man, fooled my brain there for a second. But yeah, congratulations to him for sure. That is quite an accomplishment. 300 wins in high school. Man, that's crazy.
And
that's
I'm
crazy.
looking, just one other thing. I don't know if you saw, because we love to talk ETBU, that ETBU's Ryan Irwin was named the Division III Athletic Director of the Year. Thought that was really cool. Congrats to him. It's Wes Colley is the Gary head coach that reached that plateau. So congrats to Caden Skaggs, Tucker Grubbs, Wes Colley, and Ryan Irwin.
Good stuff. I want to start out today just quickly, and this came across my Facebook actually this morning that I saw it from last night. But congratulations to Nunu Kennedy down in EF. He was named to the TABC Boys 2A All-Region team. Have not had a chance to do a deep dive. I'm sure we may have other players from our area, but knowing Nunu and my relationship with the folks down there at EF, I wanted to mention that here today. And congratulations to him, All-Region in basketball, All-State in football, and going to ETBU. He is signed with ETBU, so to play football, I believe. So anyway, another notch on his trophy case for sure. Okay, I did want to kind of mention here, just very briefly on my side, I don't have a whole lot, but it came down yesterday that Texas dual sport athlete Jonah Williams is out for the rest of the baseball season. He's going to have shoulder surgery. He injured his shoulder originally diving for a ball the other night, I believe, or last week. And he's found out yesterday he's going to have shoulder surgery. It's going to knock him out the rest of the baseball season. Of course, he is a key ingredient in plans for the Texas Longhorn football team coming up in the fall. He was actually signed out of Galveston as a 5-star safety a couple years ago, so he is in his sophomore year, but he's been playing baseball as well. I wonder, as we get into this era of NIL and big money and actually players being paid to play sports, are we going to see the end of this two-sport athlete era at major college universities because of things like this? Now, it appears there is no animosity about it. Actually, they're actually in agreement on talking about Jim Schlossnagle, the baseball coach, and Steve Sarkisian about how to do this. They're in agreement. I think it was part of the recruiting pitch that you can come here and you can do both. My question is, at what point do you say, okay, it's not worth the risk anymore? You can make the argument that you're more likely to get hurt in spring training or spring ball than you are on a baseball field. This was just one of those rare instances where you dive for a ball as the athlete that you are, and you pop your shoulder. But the fact is, it's happened, and it just makes me wonder again. I don't know how many two-sport athletes we have out there still. We don't have as many as we used to. But this particular kid, by all accounts, is a prospect in both baseball and football. He was more recognized as the football player coming out that is allowed to play baseball kind of on the side. Now, this particular injury, they don't think is going to keep him out of football because it's 6 months out and he'll have time to rehab it and everything like that. But he is done for baseball. So interesting to see how that plays out as far as the two-sport athlete thing being done. You remember Gordy Lockbaum?
I do not.
He was a 4-star athlete or a 4-sport athlete or something. Look him up real quick. Talk amongst yourselves. I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Gordy Lockbaum.
I'll tell you what, my favorite was
88. He played. Let's see. Oh, he was a two-way player. No, that's in football. I'm sorry. He came from. This doesn't even line out with anything I'm trying to say. But he was a two-way player in football. Actually, he played full-time offense and full-time defense, which is not really that special. So we'll just have to carry on here on the podcast.
My favorite baseball player of all time was Dave Winfield, and he was drafted in 4 different professional drafts. He was drafted Major League, NBA, ABA, and it was crazy. You don't see a lot of that anymore.
Did not wake up this morning, Matt, thinking I was going to find a way to mention Gordy Lockbaum on our podcast.
I can't imagine there was any way. Yeah,
go back and look him at. He's your kind of guy. A two-way player at Holy Cross. That's what happens when you get to be my age. Your memories just get all jumbled up, and red is red, or red is blue, and blue is red, right?
Yep.
And then finally, to close out the back page, thankfully for me, I did see this yesterday, and I thought it was interesting. And again, this is from Twitter, from a account called Front Office Sports. I don't know if you read the actual comments, there are people questioning whether the validity of this, but I just wanted to throw it out there with that in mind. But these are the top 10 men's basketball who spent the most this year on their college men's basketball programs. Take a wild guess as to who was, according to this, the number 1 team in terms of money spent on their program. And I'm assuming this is NIL money.
Yeah. I guess I'll throw out Kentucky.
They're on the list, but they are not number 1. You're not going to guess it, so let me just tell you.
Yeah, tell me.
Number 1, Indiana Hoosiers. They spent $32 million on their men's basketball team. Where are they playing this week? They're not playing anywhere.
I think. Did they go to the Crown?
They declined their NIT bid, and so they will not. They're done. Their season's over. But anyway, the Hoosiers spent $32 million to not make the tournament. Now, on the flip side of that, it's not been a bad year in Indiana in sports because, of course, their football team makes up for that. But But yeah, they according to this list, they are the biggest spender in men's basketball this year. Number two was Tennessee at 23.1 million, followed by number 3 Arizona, and number 4 was Texas. They both spent 22 million. And just rounding out the top 10 here, you had UConn at 21.5 million. Arkansas spent 21.2 million. Michigan State comes in at 7th at 21 million, followed by Kentucky. There's your Kentucky Wildcats, Matt.
Yeah.
Number 8 at 20.7, followed by Auburn. Probably most of that goes to Bruce Pearl at 20.5 million, and then rounding out the top 10 was Louisville at 19.8. So I'm trying to see here, just off the top of my head, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 10 made the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and some of them in better shape than others, obviously.
How much of that 21.2 million did you donate to your university basketball program?
Well, that would be a 0, sir.
Me as well. Let me just put it that way. Okay. This date in sports history, I think we set a record today for birthdays that I wanted to mention here, and we'll roll through them here pretty quickly because we got 6 of them. A lot of birthdays today in the world of sports. Going back all the way to 1902. You ever heard of Bobby Jones?
Yes, I have.
He was a 13-time golf majors champion who dominated the game in the 1920s. In 1930, he did complete the sport's original Grand Slam. He won all 4 major titles in that single year. And then he later co-founded none other than Augusta National and helped create the Masters.
Wow.
Bobby Jones was born on this date in 1902. He passed away in 1971 at the age of 69. I know you'll know this guy, Sammy Ball.
Yes.
Slinging Sammy.
Slinging Sammy.
Was born on St. Patrick's Day of 1914. Of course, he is a college and pro Hall of Famer quarterback, one of the true pioneers of the position. Revolutionized and credited with revolutionized the forward pass back in the days of the leather helmets. He led the NFL in passing 6 times. Also, again, speaking of 2A athletes, I knew we were on the theme here today, but he was excelled as a punter and a defensive back.
Wow.
Back in the days when you were, I guess that's a 3-way player. He died in 2008 at the age of 94. So today is Sammy's birthday. I can't do the math in my head. What would that make him today, Matt, if he was born in 1914?
That'd be 112. Yeah, that'd have been a record or something, some kind of record.
Yeah. I bet he could still sling it. Coming back home a little bit closer to home here, but Coach Fred Akers was born in.
Oh yeah.
You know who Fred Akers was? Former Texas Longhorns head coach, led Texas to a national title in 1983. Compiled over 80 wins in Austin. Kept Texas always in the conversation among being the nation's elite in the 1970s and early 80s. He, of course, was replaced by none other than David McWilliams, which was a major, major problem for Texas. Remember that. But anyway, Coach Akers passed away at age 82 back in 2020. I know you'll know this guy too, Matt. Born on March 17, 1959, none other than Danny Ainge.
Oh, yes.
Ainge was a 3-time NBA champ with the Boston Celtics, later built another championship team as an executive in 2008, I believe.
Yes.
0809. Also one of the few athletes to play professionally in both the NBA and Major League Baseball. He was a product of the Toronto Blue Jays, if you remember that.
Yep.
Anyway, happy birthday to Danny Ainge. He turned 67 years old today. Is he still in the game?
Very active, I think. Utah Jazz and even BYU.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also born on this date in 1972, American soccer gold medalist on the ladies' side, Mia Hamm. Recognized as one of the greatest players in women's soccer history throughout the world. She won 2 World Cups, 2 gold medals at the Olympics for Team USA, and largely is responsible for the global popularity of the women's game. Anyway, Mia Hamm turns 54 today. And then stand on the Olympic side with Olympic heroes. In 1997, Katie Ledecky, American swimmer, was born. One of the most dominant swimmers of all time. Of course, she's won 9 gold medals at the Olympics in swimming, set numerous world records as well. A true legend in the pool, and she turns, with all of that in her history, she's only 29. She turns 29 today. She's getting so old she can't swim anymore, Matt.
Yeah, I mean that's brittle right there, isn't it? I mean,
Sure is.
yeah, 29. Whew. I mean, no.
And then finally, I would kill to be 29 again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anyway, and one other thing today to note on this day in sports history, in March the 17th of 1965, former football coach, legendary football coach Amos Alonzo Stagg passed away at the age of 102. We talked about Sammy Ball revolutionizing the passing game. Well, Amos Alonzo Stagg really is credited for basically reinventing football. An innovator of all kinds of things that we don't have time to talk about today. Introduced key innovations. He coached for over 50 years. I think he was in his 80s when he finally stepped down from coaching. Generally considered, I mean, if you're going to build a statue at a football stadium, you probably need to include Amos Alonzo Stagg. He's that important to the game's history, to the point where the D3 National Championship football game every year is named in his honor as the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl.
Wow.
Spent many a year at ETBU dreaming of attending the Stagg Bowl and never got there. So anyway, today was the day that he passed away in 1965. Okay, final word of the day comes from Hebrews 12:11. It says, "No discipline seems enjoyable at the time, but painful." I can agree with that. Later on, however, it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. To go along with that today, folks, what feels hard today may be shaping something better for you tomorrow. Always trust the process and trust that God is producing something good in you.